Hello and welcome to a healthy edition of Bondi Snapshot. Today we're going to be joined by Australia's leading nutritionist and lifestyle expert, Dr. Joanna McMillan, also a fabulous Bondi local. Good morning, Joanna. Thanks so much for joining us on this gorgeous day down here in Bondi.
Thank you for having me on.
Now tell us, you're obviously a leading dietitian, nutritionist. How did you get started in this field?
Well, I actually originally did my nutrition degree back in Scotland and then always had an interest, actually my interest originally was in fitness, and so I sort of was looking away for combining everything. And I came out to Australia. Australia seemed like a great place to sort of explore more health and wellness type ideas, and I did my PhD with Sydney University out here. So I've been here ever since.
And is there a difference, would you find, in the nutrition or the fitness really in Scotland versus Australia?
Well, there's a lot of similarities actually. I think there's this perception, my parents always say this, my mum comes here and she sees somewhere like Bondi where, look at everybody's exercising and running and working out at the outdoor gym, and she says everybody seems to be so healthy. But actually, of course, when you delve into the rest of Australia, we're in a little bit of a bubble here. When you look at Australia overall, Australia and Scotland both have huge problems with bad diets, not enough exercise, and the other stresses of modern life.
So what are the most important things you think in diet?
It's about eating more real food, and cutting out the ultra processed foods. So it doesn't mean you can never have anything out of a packet or have home delivery or something out of a can. It's the super ultra processed foods that are really problematic. They're the ones that give us the refined carbs, the wrong kinds of fats, the additives, all of the other different things that we know are not good for us.
And that's an interesting segue into plant-based foods versus meat.
We've got greater variety now, and we have the opportunity to have a much more plant-rich diet. But I think be careful with the term plant-based. I'm seeing lots of products being, I call it this sort of health halo. It's an ultra-processed food, yet it says on the front of the packet, plant-based. And that's not necessarily, and probably is far less healthy than just having the meat.
The meat, yeah.
Now, if you want the ethical argument, of course, if you're trying not to eat animals and you're taking that ethical argument, then that's a totally different argument. But solely with my nutrition science hat on, lots of those products are still processed food. And
what's the difference? So what would you say organic versus stuff that you can actually just get in the Coles?
For most people, they're not eating enough. Only 7% of Australians are eating enough veggies. So
7%?
Really, let's just as a first step, eat more veggies.
Yeah.
And if buying conventional produce allows you to eat the volume of veggies that we should be eating, then that's the first step. You don't need to be buying organic.
And how do you get that message across? Because does it start with the education of children or is it with the adults?
Well, I think it's both, but definitely for the next generation coming up. I've got 2 teenage boys now, and they hardly do any nutrition at school. And the things that they've told me about what they have learned is often wrong too, or it's outdated, or it's not. So yes, I think education of children has to be the start of it, but also some basic skills in terms of learning how to cook, how to prepare foods. I've worked with families where they don't know how to. It's only once they've had a baby that suddenly someone starts thinking about, oh gosh, I better start preparing foods. I've got friends like that who really didn't start cooking themselves until they had children, and then realised, oh, I've got to now feed a family. So if we can kind of work with families and we can work, and that's a really good time to intervene when children are born, because there's often high motivation there to be eating better and to be more healthy.
So Jo, obviously you're busy with everything you're doing. Tell us a typical day in the life of Dr. Joanna.
Yeah, well, do you know what? That's what's nice about my job, that there really is no typical day, and I love that about it. So every day is really varied. I might be in a long board meeting, or I might be in front of the camera, or I might be at my desk writing. I also do a lot of writing, so yeah, very varied.
Talking about writing, you've got an ebook.
I've been doing some work for Audible, which started during the pandemic, which is great because it gave me work to be writing about.
So people can actually hear your wonderful voice.
They can hear me, yes. Yeah. I did have someone tell me once that they always read articles that I've written and they read it in a Scottish accent. So yes. Now I've got a series of Audible books coming out. There's 2 out already. The first one was Gutful, which is what to eat for a happy gut. Yeah. And the one that just came out before Christmas is called Food Fight, Making Sense of the Diet Wars. So anyone who wants to hear about, the carnivore diet and the vegan diet and paleo
that's
and
fascinating.
FODMAPs and all of these different diets, I discuss all of them, the pros and the cons, and help you, I hope, to end your own diet war if you're having one. So that's the one that's just out, and coming up soon will be one about what to eat for a better brain, and it's called Mindful.
It's been absolutely wonderful having you here, Dr. Joanna.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you. Also one of my neighbours and a Bondi local now.
I am,
and,
yes.
Really appreciate you coming in today, and thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom with us.
No worries, thank you.